Hi folks, welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've made a proper video and I apologise. Here today to show you the Astromatrix tarot. Now, a while ago, and when I say a while, I do mean a few years ago, I had said, I think it was Deanna I was speaking to, and I was saying, you know, I'm looking for like the perfect deck. I'm doing a bit of a Goldilocks where I'm looking for it to be like the perfect size, where it's like standard tarot size. I'm looking for the perfect cardstock where it can riffle shuffle, but it can also like fan out. I'm looking for more or less Rider-Waite Smith imagery, but colours, like a full coloured deck. And I'm also looking for it to have the astrological correspondences. So all of those things, I don't ask for much, do I? And I don't know, I get like, as the years have gone on, I've kind of made, so I've got a copy of the Wiser Tarot that I've written the correspondences onto, so that essentially fitted the bill. But I have managed to find what I think is the perfect deck in terms of all those criteria. And as I say, it's the Astromatrix Tarot. So this is the box here. This is available, mass market. And I'm going to do a quick walkthrough of it and let you see it. So, box is a sturdy two-part box. The inside of it is quite nice, and the dog is barking, so I'm just going to pause a second. So yeah, every time someone has, the cheek to walk down the main road outside, the dogs have an absolute canary, so apologies. So this is the inside of the box, beautiful imagery there. Really nice image on the front actually, which is from the Judgment card. And this is the inside of the base, and then the back. So Astromatrix Tarot, introducing Astromatrix Tarot, a fusion of diverse tarot decks harmonised by classic symbolism. The captivating deck unveils vivid and intricate modern imagery, inspiring a profound connection. Unlock hidden insights, deeper understanding of the cards. 48-page guidebook, 9 unique tarot spreads to explore. Each card carries a QR code for expanded insights. Astrology, crystals, chakras, and much more awaits you. Embark on a transformative journey. Navigate life's intricacies with Astromatrix Tarot's empowering wisdom. So, there you go. The book is very much a little white book. We're not getting much information on the cards. We do get, so there's a welcome. Like it says, there's lots of tarot spreads. I think it's like 9, which is pretty decent, So there's like spreads for different situations. So I think that's quite good. This is basically what we're getting for each card. We're getting half a page, a very brief kind of it's not even a description, it's just a kind of a quote, I suppose, that might go with the card, and then very quick upright and reversed keywords. And it's the same for the minors. If I show you, there we go. So half a page for each one. And then the back page tells you about the artists, the creators, etc. However, as it says on the box, on each card, these are the backs of the cards by the way, and on the back you'll notice a QR code. And to be honest, the QR code goes quite nicely with the imagery on the back of the card, so I actually didn't realise that this was a QR code right away. Like, I noticed it pretty quickly, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's really intrusive, which is nice. But so this is the full card. So if I scan the back, the QR code on the back, because the shadows are playing tricks with me, it's not scanning it properly. There we go. So let me just show you the kind of information. So there we can see that I've scanned the full from the Tarot Major Arcana. We're getting the the upright and reversed kind of keywords. We then get, oh, sorry, this is my phone, so it might be quite difficult to get it to focus on the writing. But you can see you're getting a hell of a lot more. So lots of information on the full, lots of information on its meaning, and then a good chunk of information as well on the reversed meaning. Some keywords, you know, and it goes into the astrology of it and all that. So the deck isn't without information, you just need to know how to get it. In terms of the cards, whoops, I've just thrown that on the floor. The cards have got a beautiful soft matte cardstock. It's kind of like the Everyday Enchantment cardstock, if you're familiar with that, Poppy Palin's deck. Or like the you know, like the Nightmare Before Christmas, the Titan books, kind of a series of card decks. It's that kind of soft matte. The size is more or less your kind of a standard US Games tarot size. It's actually, if you look, you can see there, it's like a hair shorter, but it's, I would say the difference is negligible. And yeah, the thickness of the deck. So the deck's not edged or anything, so you can edge it if you so choose. I haven't felt the need to edge this because as you can see, the images are beautiful borderless. The backs are this kind of black with a yellowy gold images on top. So if I was going to edge it, it would be in either black or gold, but I wouldn't want it to bleed onto the images, so I think I'll just leave it as is. And yeah, it's like very flexible, as I've said, in terms of riffle shuffling. I'll show you the shuffle later on. Let's have a wee flip through, and for a change I'll maybe chat through as I flip through the deck. So the full card to me is a pretty standard, very, very similar to the Rider-Waite, maybe a wee bit modernised, but you can even see like the patterns on their clothes are in keeping with the patterns on the Smith-Waite Fool's clothes. Gorgeous wee dog, chasing him with his tongue out. He's even making that kind of a, you know, some people say they see the Fool as making that Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, making that Aleph shape. So he's, I mean, it's a bit different, but he's kind of in that same vein. So yeah, pretty traditional Fool. I suppose that what's different about it is you've got this city skyline behind them, which again maybe just makes it feel a wee bit more modern. Magician, beautiful magician, very powerful, really concentrating on this kind of a electrical, you know, to me the magician is a conductor for power and strength and energy, and we see that I suppose personified by the electricity here. We see that he's channeling the electricity through the wand and through his outstretched arm, and then it's coming back out here. And we see he's got the wand in his hand and then the three tools on the table. We even see like the flowers that we're used to seeing. High Priestess is very traditional. Got the pomegranate in her hand. Almost looks like she's floating. She's obviously sitting on the moon. I love this portal behind her. It's a beautiful colour. Pretty traditional Empress. Does appear to have a pregnant tummy. So if that's, I know some people don't like that in their Empress card. So I guess that's something to be aware of. The Emperor. And the Ram for Aries. And I mentioned it at the start, but the cards have the astrological symbols on it. So you've got Aries for the Emperor and Venus for the Empress, and so on and so forth. The Hierophant. So I do have to say, I've looked up some information on this deck, and I saw a fantastic video. I believe the channel is called Tarotically Speaking, I want to pronounce it, but that might not be quite right. But this lady is she talks about this deck, and she talks in particular about the Hierophant and the Death card, and there are some issues with the Hindu gods that are depicted in them, and this lady speaks with a lot of knowledge, so I'm assuming that she comes from that, she has that Hindu background. So this is, well, I would have pronounced it Shiva, but she pronounced it Shiva, so I'm going to say Shiva. So this is Shiva, he's meditating, which at face value feels Hierophant-y, but she makes the point that actually Shiva is he's a god of destruction. The reason he meditates is to keep himself calm. When he opens his third eye, destruction ensues. So she made the point he's not really an appropriate figure for this. And it begs the question, has he just been used for that face value, or it's someone meditating, we'll just stick him on there, I'm sure it's not as simple as that, but yeah, that was the point that she made. So I just wanted to mention that because when we're getting decks, it's good to be aware of the good stuff about them, but it's also good to be aware of some of the issues with them. And in this day and age, everyone is very conscious of cultural appropriation, and but because it's when we're creating decks, it's good to do your research and all that kind of thing. But also it might bring in, once you're aware of these things, it might bring in different meanings that you wouldn't normally associate with that card. And I think that it's good to have that knowledge, forearmed with that knowledge, so as that you can make the choice as to whether you want to potentially have that with the card, if that makes sense. So that was the Hierophant. Got the Lover's card, very traditional again. Another thing I should say is I've noticed that they kind of the genitals and even like the breasts of the females in this deck, from what I remember, they tend to be covered up. So I know that a lot of folks might use decks for things like TikTok and stuff, and I've seen people using the Smith-Waite deck and covering up the naked parts. So I don't think this is a deck where you would need to do that, if that's something that's a factor for you when you're looking at decks. The Chariot, not very Smith-Waite, it's more kind of a Plato's Chariot, which works for me, which is great. That's kind of that's what I use when I'm interpreting the Chariot card anyway, as anyone who's heard me harping on when I'm doing readings will be aware of. Beautiful Strength card. Hermit's modernised, but still, does the job of the Hermit card. Really cool. Wheel of Fortune. Really nice. Justice, very Thoth Justice. It looks like the Adjustment card, I think it's called, in Thoth. With big scales and stuff, but it's, I believe this is so it's Mat or Miat, the heart being weighed against the feather. But even the sword is the Adjustment sword from the Thoth. Hanged One, so Hanged One as opposed to Hanged Man. This was the other card that Tarotically Speaking had talked about. So here we see Kali. I'm going to link her video in the description because, well, for one, the information that I'm talking about I got from there, so I think it's only fair to refer you to that video. Plus she'll be able to, you know, explain it. If she explains it in a much fuller, you know, it's quite a long video. So she explains it in a much fuller way than what I am and what I could. But yeah, so the point that she makes with Kali is, you know, yep, fair enough, she does potentially represent that kind of death, that destruction, that you know, that transformation that we associate with the death card. But there's this issue with her standing on the soldier. So any images that, if we look up images of Kali, any images of her standing on someone, she's standing on Shiva. And there's a whole story behind that where Kali is on a rampage type thing, and she's so full of heat, so full of anger and in a rage, that Shiva lies down in her path in order to try and stop her, to pull her out of it. He lies down on her path, and when she steps on Shiva, he lets out this cry, and that's when that shocks her out of her rage, and that's when she lets out this face that we see with the tongue. It's like a kind of a, oh shit, do you know what I mean? Oh, what am I doing? What have I done? So the point that she makes is that, like, you know, why the soldier? It just doesn't feel right. So I thought her video was really, really interesting. So like I say, I'll link it and you can watch it, but I just wanted to highlight that as well. Temperance card. I think this is very like the art card, which is the temperance equivalent, and the Thoth, isn't it? We have the devil. Tower. Our star card. The moon. All very traditional. That I'm noticing that they kind of tend to stick to either come from the Smith-Waite tradition or the Thoth one. That moon feels more Smith-Waite. Sun, Smith-Waite as well, I guess. Judgment is beautiful, absolutely stunning. Now this is a change that I'm on board with. You know, the phoenix bursting into flame and then being reborn from the ashes. Yeah, I can totally relate to that as a judgment card. Kind of prefer it, to be honest, over the, you know, the angel. And then the world card. So wands suit, the ace. So you can see here we've got fire, because this is the root of the power of fire. We then go in with the decans, so we've got Mars and Aries for the two of wands, very Smith-Waite imagery. Same for the three, the sun in Aries. For the four, that celebration. The five, that competition. Saturn and Leo. Traditional victory card for the six. The high ground for the seven. Your 8 wands parallel through the sky for the 8. I like that they've added the wee birds here. 9, really getting that sense of injury that, you know, he's been through it. He's been through a lot, this guy. But he still, if you look at his face, he still looks determined, which is quite cool. And 10. So all, as you can see, very much inspired by the Smith Way. So another thing that I like about this is, so here we see earth, fire. So obviously the wands, because it's the wands courts, they're all associated with fire. But each page, Knight, Queen, King, each court is associated with a different element. And in this deck, the pages are earth, the knights are fire, queens are water, and the kings are air, which, you know, not every, oh sorry, I'm in the way. There we go. So not everyone associates it that way. There's lots of people that switch these round. They make the knight air and the king fire, which I prefer to see the knights as fire, and the kings as air, just because the knights have got that you know, that action, that energy, that natural kind of a you know, they're the workers of the suit. They're acting out the suit. They're doing the stuff. They're getting shit done. That's to me what the knights are. So that to me is very element of fire. It has that energetic association, whereas the knights are more the social responsibility. They oversee, they manage the kingdom, they make sure that everything's in order. So it's to me that's much more intellectual. It's much more mental. I don't know if you can hear that squeaking in the background, but that's my dogs playing with their toy. I can't really moan at them for doing that. So that's our page, Knight, Queen, and King of Wands. We then come on to our swords suit. So all really traditional. We have the addition of the person here. For the three, so it's not just the heart with the three swords, it's the kind of the person who's in anguish. 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't know how I feel about the kind of a piratey theme to this. 8, 9. So this is interesting because there's it's like the background is like a graveyard scene. If you notice, like the you know, the crosses that look like headstones, and then your trees, and so really kind of a leaning into the nightmare theme there. You've got your 10 of swords, and I'm not sure, I think these are vultures, but I could be totally wrong there. But either way, very traditional. What I like is, so see the sky, you still get that kind of a darkness, but it's not just totally solid black, which unfortunately a lot of, more or less all Rider-Waite-Smith decks, they all have that black sky, like totally solid black, whereas here it's much more atmospheric. You know, you can see that there's black clouds, but you're seeing some light starting to appear behind them, which I just feel is, it's much more realistic, but it's just much nicer as well. Because there's lovely decks like the Wiser that I was talking about earlier, that so that does a kind of a colour coding thing with the suits, and the swords, they have these kind of a purple backgrounds, and yet that 10 of swords still, and the 9, they still have that solid black background, and it's just like, why is everyone scared to move from that solid black background? I don't get it. Your Knight, beautiful queen, she doesn't look as angry, and this is what she does in the Smith Way. And then your king, and they all have a very kind of an airy theme to them. Ace of Cups, 2, shows two females, which is nice. Wee bit of diversity. Also, you know, depending on how you would see it, how it hits you at the time, but maybe we just see this as it's not necessarily a kind of romantic situation, you know, which the Two of Cups isn't always about. So it's nice to see that too. 3, love this, that they're kind of just singing in the rain, dancing in the rain, splashing about, having a great time. I had to pause to sneeze there. Back with a 5. Or 6. 7. I like that. So to me, the person being very much a silhouette in the 7 of Cups is quite important, because the way I'll often read this is, sure, it's a card about imagination and fantasy and imagining the future and stuff, but when it gets into shadow, you know, or maybe not, you know, if you don't read reversals, like just the kind of a more shadow side of the card is like, with all those choices you can almost lose yourself. There's almost a kind of a bit of an identity crisis thing that goes on. So yeah, I like that. That's an important aspect for me. 8, very traditional, even down to the, you know, the missing cup. So they're off to, you know, they feel like there's something missing, and they're off to find it. 9. And beautiful 10. So the cups are the colours of the rainbow rather than depicting an actual rainbow, which does the trick, I guess. Page of Cups, they've gone with a kind of a mere person type theme, which is cool. It's cute. Knight. Queen. Again, she looks a lot kind of a happier, kinder than the Smithwaite Queen. Yeah, I've always thought I had a bit of a bad case of resting bitch face. And the King. And onto the Pentacles, traditional Ace. Traditional 2, but I love the kind of just the way that the watery scene is depicted. The 3, doing something a little bit different with it, but you know, it still does the same thing essentially. But it modernises it a wee bit, and it's nice. 4. 5. 6. 7. I should have said with that 6, I do kind of like that she doesn't have the scale. I don't know. To me, the 6 is, you know, if you're going to read it as generosity, then, you know, depict it as generosity and not like, I don't know, measured generosity. As much as I know we all need to kind of measure out, you know, and give what we can and that kind of thing. Like, just I don't know, adding the scale just always felt a little bit icky to me. 8. Beautiful 9. 10. For those of us who like to have the, you know, the pentacles and the formation of the tree of life, we've got that here. It's nice that the child is with the old man here. It's not just his dogs. It's you know, the kid sees him as well. The kid appreciates him. Page. our knight, our queen, and her abundant garden, and our king. So we see that kind of a, they've obviously tried to keep it, in terms of the clothing I'm looking at, it's in keeping with the clothing and the king, but just a wee bit more modernised. He's got himself a wee 3-piece suit on and he's looking just great. So that's the flip through the deck. Gosh, we're at the 30-minute mark. I don't know how this has managed to be so long. But I wanted to show you the shuffle. So it riffle shuffles beautifully. Nice wee wave as well. It also spreads out quite nicely, if you like to do this and pick your cards at random. And obviously, as I always say, size, it overhands really nicely because it's that standard size. So one of the kind of ways that I read with a deck like this, and the reason that I like to have the astrological deckings on there is because I use it for reading timing. So I thought as a sample spread I could do a wee timing reading and show you what I'm talking about, and hopefully it works, because the cards won't always give you a timing on things. I should say, for me there's like so many, there's not one fixed future, there's like infinite possible futures, and it's dependent on the choices we make. There are things that aren't dependent on us, they're just going to be what they're going to be. But there's also a lot of things that are dependent on what we do, the actions we take, the decisions we make. And because of that, the future isn't written in stone, and the further away you go, the less certain things become. So I always say to people, we can kind of look and see, when we can expect shifts in particular areas of your life. So if someone's looking at their career, we can look and see, right, okay, I always say, think about it, look, within the next year. I don't like to go beyond a year with these, but within the next year, when can we be on the lookout for shifts in that life area? So let's use that as an example. So the way I like to do this, lots of you will have seen me doing it before as well. So it's important that there's reversals shuffled into the deck. I don't know if I said that, but I've shuffled reversals in there. So some of the cards will be upright, some will be reversed. And then, so right away we have Chariot card, which is associated with Cancer. So we're looking at Cancer season, which I think is June, July time. So yeah, end of June, kind of a first 2/3 of July. So, maybe our imaginary querent can expect to see some career changes in the middle of next year, June, July time. Someone might say, what's another area? When, love life, that's one of the big things that people ask about. When am I going to meet my person? See, this is the things, people might ask you a question like, oh, when is my person going to come along? And I mean, everyone believes their own thing that they believe. For me, I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's about saying, right, well, like, we can only control ourselves and our own actions and stuff like that, so let's look at that particular life area and see when there's the most potential for shift, and maybe the cards will give us an idea about kind of what we can do, what if there's any work that we need to do in the meantime in order to bring about that change that we're looking for. So what might happen is you might get a reversal before you get an upright card. So to me, the upright cards are the timing cards. The reversals is telling us about stuff that we need to do, what our job is in the meantime. So the timing card is the first decan in Virgo, which is August, the end of August, the last kind of a third of August, I think. Maybe it's September actually. I think it's August. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The kind of a first bit of Virgo season. So that's kind of maybe when we can expect to see something happening around that area, when we can see some kind of shift. But the cards are saying, like, in the meantime, your job is to look at these particular things. So the Ace of Cups to me is self-care. You know, you can't really expect someone else to respect and love you if you don't respect and love yourself. It all starts with you. That is where the potential for love is. It's in how you treat yourself. So that maybe this person needs to kind of a wee bit of self-care, a wee bit of you know, just spending some time on themselves, with themselves, and just building up that, you know, building up that capacity for love. Your High Priestess, so, you know, maybe that's is very much about, so High Priestess is kind of a passive energy. She kind of sits alone, guarding that space. So to me, what this is like, you know, your person may well come along, you may well get that fulfillment. Maybe you can expect to see that around about Virgo season. However, in the meantime, your job is to really get comfortable with yourself, being in your own company, and just, you know, it's lots of self-care. Do you know what I mean? Like, look after yourself. You really need to kind of respect yourself in order for someone to then, you know, to then reflect that, I guess. So that's how I read for timing. So hopefully I've made it clear, like, with those caveats, like how I actually do that, and it's not just about like saying, oh, on the 21st of December XYZ is definitely going to happen. It's not like that at all. Anyway, thanks very much for watching this. This one's gone on for a fair wee bit. So if you're still with me, then thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you like the deck. Let me know your thoughts in the chat. Definitely check out Tarotically Speaking's video, because I think it's a lot of thought going into it, and it's a really good video. Take care, everyone. I'll see you all later. Bye bye.